Innovation Council had organized a webinar on the topic of ideation of innovation design. I welcome you all for this section. I invite the most eminent personality, Dr. G. Suresh Kumar Sir, Vice President of IICTE, Head Physics UG, PG, to give welcome address. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you, MOC. Good afternoon, adult person here. It is a great pleasure for me to welcome you for the Impact Lecture Series sponsored by MIC, AICTE, New Delhi. With the blessing of our Chairman and Vice Chairman, sir, and the guidance of our Principal, sir, the IIC has conducted many programs to enrich the skills of the students on innovation as well as entrepreneurship. As a consequence, today we have the Impact Lecture Series 2 on the ideation for the innovative design. First of all, I would like to welcome our principal, sir, Dr. V. Radhakrishnan. Then I would like to welcome Dr. D. Ramesh Chandra Babu, Associate Professor, School of Business Management, Christian University, Bangalore. And also I would like to welcome Dr. K. M. Prabhushankarlal, President, IASC. Also, I would like to welcome Mr. J. Tamil Chelvan, convener of the IASC KSRCAS. Also, I would like to welcome the members of the IASC, Dr. P. Vanitha, Dr. S. Agustina Lada Jairas, and Dr. M. Suresh, as well as Dr. M. Venkatesh, for the active involvement in conducting this program. Also, I would like to welcome the participants from the our college as well as various colleges. This lecture can be useful to enhance the knowledge on ideation for the innovative design. Thank you, one and all person here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now heartily welcome our principal, sir, Dr. V. Radhakrishnan, sir, the most eminent, dignified personality, motivator, and the stronger edify to lift our institution for student growth, to deliver the presidential address. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you, MOC. Good afternoon, everyone. Respected Chairman, Vice Chairman, and our beloved Executive Directors in absentia. The distinguished chief guest of today's session, Dr. Ramesh Chandra Babu, our friend at the same time, who was actually heading the Department of MBA earlier. Thank you very much, sir, for sparing your valuable time to be with us. And the topic today.
Thank you,
yeah,
sir.
the topic today is, thank you, sir. The topic today is ideation for intellectual design. Something very innovative, because the title itself speaks that you must have the intellect, and the intellect should be used in a proper manner so that it will be useful not only for us, but also for the country. So the initiatives taken by the IIC is really good. And I really appreciate the efforts of the IIC members and the coordinators and the student coordinators. I hope that it will continue and they will rise to greater heights. And I'm sure that today's session presented by Dr. Ramesh Chandra Babu, who is lovingly known as RCB, who is with us. His delivery will be really giving very good takeaways for us. I'm sure, sir, that our students will enjoy and they will get benefited by your session, sir. Thank you so much once again for accepting our invitation and sparing your valuable time. Yeah, thank you, sir. So I wish all the very best for the session. Thank you and good day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It's my pleasure to call upon Dr. M. Venkatesh, sir, Head of Physics UG, to introduce the chief guest resource person. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you, MSc. First of all, all of you, very good evening. I really happy to introduce today resource person of this program. Dr. Ramesh Chandra Babu is an associate professor at School of Business and Management, Christian University, Bangalore. He graduated his MCom from Bharatidasan University, MBA from Annamalai University, and a PhD from Pondicherry University. He has been trained at Indian Institute of Management at Ahmedabad and Indian Institute of Management, Kozhikode, as a teacher. He has also passed the UGC NET examination in management. He has 4 years of internship experience, 22 years of teaching, and 13 years of research experience. His area of interest are strategy, finance, research, methodology, and general management. He has published more than 20 papers in Indian and international journals. He has written course materials for Periyar University in uh, various subjects. He has international teaching experience he is also having. He is the member of board of studies in various institution and university, and he has membership in various professional bodies, both in Indian and abroad. He is also NCC Airwing C certificate holder, and also received the silver award from Duke of Edinburgh, UK. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I'm proudly delighted to take an opportunity to call upon the Chief Guest, Dr. T. Ramesh Chandra Babu, sir, Associate Professor, School of Business and Management, in Crisp University. Welcome you, sir.
So first of all, I thank the principal of KSR College of Arts and Science, Dr. Radha Krishnan. So he's a very good friend of mine, and Dr. Shankar Lal is also a very good friend of mine. I have been associated with KSR College of Arts and Science for almost 14 years. So I was there right from the inception of KSR College of Arts and Science. Then I went abroad. I worked in North India. Right now, for the past 5 years, I'm working in Christ University, Bengaluru. Okay, so I thank both the principal uh, and Shankar Lal for inviting me for this prestigious lecture series. So I will move on to the presentation mode. I will open my PPT. Are you all able to see my PowerPoint? Can you say yes? Somebody say yes. No.
Sir, it's visible, sir.
Yeah, just let me add it to the full screen. Now, are you able to see the screen, sir? My PowerPoint. Can you please respond?
Sir, is view, sir, viewable, sir. No problem. You can see. You can.
No, you're able to see my PowerPoint, right?
Yes, sir. Right, sir.
Well,
Continue, sir. Please, sir.
Thank you. So the topic given to me is ideation for innovative design. So this is a very, very interesting topic. Actually, ideation is one of the important stage in design thinking. Okay, so what I will do is, so the objectives of my lecture today is to train the students on dealing with unstructured problems. See, structured problems can be always delegated to the middle management or lower level management. But the unstructured problems, solving unstructured problems will rest with the top management, because every unstructured problem requires a different approach. Therefore, it requires new ideas to solve problems. Uh, and think about innovative solutions. So, new problems. I think I was talking about the software called Tableau. So, Tableau helps you to do the visualization part. Okay, Tableau will help you to find the patterns. Okay, so it's the simplest software. That is the, yeah.
Okay, sure.
Is it okay, sir? Can you continue?
Sir, audio. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Audible and visual, sir. You continue, sir, please.
It's okay, right? Everything's okay, right?
Sir, everything is right, sir. You continue, sir.
Okay,
Please continue.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Right. So I was talking about the patterns. Yeah. So patterns are not available to ordinary eyes. No, it is available only to the trained eyes. So if you can use softwares like Tableau and other research softwares, you'll be able to see patterns. Once you see the patterns, it becomes your job becomes easy as a manager. You'll be able to solve the problems as well as possible. So the first stage is empathy. So what you can do is, so once Once you have done that, you can do a mapping. So we call it as an empathy mapping. So I was just telling you, Tableau is the simplest software that helps you to do the data visualization. You can also use advanced softwares, and you can do the empathy mapping. And the empathy mapping, there's a four quadrant. There are four quadrants. So what are the four quadrants? One is what the user say, what the user think, does, and feel. So what the user says, what the user thinks, what the user does, and what the user feels. These are the four variable plotted on the quadrant. See, most of the time, what we found was whatever whatever the consumer say is different from what he thinks. So the consumer thinks one thing, he says one thing, he does one thing, he feels another thing. So if we can collect data with respect to all these four factors, you will be able to do empathy mapping very easily. So otherwise, there are a lot of chance that your analysis may go wrong. So these are the four important factors. So what consumers say is different from what they think, and is different from what they do and what they feel. If all the four are same, our job becomes easy. But most of the time, all the four factors are not the same. They are different. The data in what they say is different from the data what they think. Okay. Now, assume that you are doing this empathizing work for a Paytm company. You know what is a Paytm, right? Almost everyone uses Paytm in metro cities. Assuming you are meeting the consumer of Paytm, so what kind of questions you can ask them, right? You are trying to get data. You are trying to get the data from the consumer. So what kind of questions you can ask? So I have come out with few questions. These questions are not exhaustive. Okay, this is only an indicative. This will trigger you to ask many questions relating to your product or service. So what are the kind of question you can ask to the Paytm user? Is the user comfortable in using the Paytm app? Is he comfortable? Does the user like the interface or not? What are the challenges the user face while making payment? Does the design of the application evoke feelings of frustration? So these questions are not exhaustive. As I told, these are only indicative. So like this, you should ask probing questions. You should ask probing questions to the consumers. In fact, you should step into the shoes of the consumer, and you should be able to ask question to yourself. You should be able to ask question to yourself, and you will be able to come out with more answers. So you ask several people. You are not going to ask one person, right? You are not going to ask one user. You are going to ask question to several users, and you are going to collect the data, and you are going to collate the data, and you are going to use some softwares, and you should be able to see some patterns. So based on the patterns, you'll be able to come out with new ideas for solving problems. So the first step in design thinking is empathizing. This is the first job you are supposed to do. Once this empathizing work is done, the next stage is defining. The next stage in design thinking is defining. See, primarily empathizing is all about collecting the data. So you should be very clear what questions to ask so that you get the right data. So you should not ask any questions to them. So you should be very clear what kind of questions you will ask, right? So sometimes you may ask additional questions. That's okay. But what are the basic questions you should ask? Sometimes one question may lead to another question. That's good. But you should ask relevant questions. You should ask relevant questions so that you get the right information that is going to help you to take right decisions. So empathizing is all about collecting the right data by asking right questions. So after collecting the data, You have to define as to what exactly the user wants, right? Because you are going to ask questions to several users, not one users. You are going to ask questions several users. So after collecting all the data, first you should be very clear what exactly the user want, or by and large, what exactly the user want, or by and large, what exactly the employees of a particular organization want. What is the problem they want to solve, or what kind of product they want, what kind of services they are expecting, or what kind of features in a particular product they are expecting. That you should be able to define. So this stage has to be usually done once you do the empathizing. So empathizing will provide you all the data to define your problem. When I say define, so you're going to define the problem, or you're going to define what exactly the consumer want. That clarity must be there. So if you don't define what exactly the consumer want, if you don't define the consumer requirement or the employee requirement, you will not be able to give a solution for them. What exactly the consumer wants, what exactly the employee wants, you should be able to define. You should be able to define. Okay, so while defining, what can happen? So if you are using an expertise, so who is an expert? So who is an expert who has already got enough knowledge and experience and skill, right? Right. Usually in a human resource management, we say KSA. So that is knowledge, skill, and attitude, right? So expertise is a person who has got more knowledge, right? More skill, right? And having a better attitude. So sometimes we may have expertise in the team. Usually, this design thinking is done as a group. Usually it is a group activity. It is not a one-man activity. Okay, so usually design thinking is done as a team. So design thinking is a group activity. You can also do alone, but you will not be that successful. If you are doing it as a team, you will be highly successful. So who will get into the team? Only the organization fixes that, right? Usually we say in that team, employees from employees from different ranks must be present. What does it mean? So the team should comprise of members from top management, middle management, frontline managers, and even workers working at the grassroots level, right? So basically, design thinking is done as a team. It's a group activity. That is what you should understand. So mostly in that team, organization also introduce some expertise so that it is more meaningful. There are advantages in having expertise. There are also disadvantages. What are the disadvantages? The disadvantage with the experienced people or a person with expertise is that they always do a fixed way of thinking. Usually expert is an experienced person, right? What is the problem with the experienced person? They have learned a lot of things in their life and they arrive at one way of doing things. I have seen a lot of things. I have experienced a lot of things. Based on that, they have their own way of doing things. They establish one way of doing things, one fixed way of doing things. There are three types of fixedness. One is the functional fixedness. If even for hitting a nail, this is how we hit a nail. Functional. They just establish that. Any work, you ask them to do any work, they'll do it in a particular way. Why they're doing a particular way? That is what they learned over a period of time. So we call the functional fixedness. There's a structural fixedness. Everything must be structured. There must be a pakka, organization chart. They will decide who will do what. No structure is established. They will establish structure. And the relational fixedness. They always say there must be a relationship between these variables in this way. In a structured way, they are working, right? These are the problems that exist in an expert. So we should know the limitation of an expert. The advantage of an expert is that he is more knowledgeable, he has got more skill, he has a better attitude. But more expertise also leads to fixed way of thinking. This is the biggest advantage of engaging an expert. The functional fixedness, the structural fixedness, the relational. In fact, no, they say they come out with one best way of doing things and they will not change their methods. They will refuse to look inwards and they will refuse to go for new ways of doing things. Okay, so this is what you should keep in mind while defining your problem. When you're defining a problem or when you're defining your requirement, when I say define here, defining the problem or defining the requirements of an employee or an consumer. Okay, so usually this defining work is done after empathizing, because empathizing provides you with all the information required for you to define a particular problem or the requirements of the users or an employee. The third stage is the ideation. So this is a topic given to me by a Professor Shankar Lal to speak. So what exactly is ideation? The dictionary meaning says no formation of ideas and concepts to solve specific problems. Okay, it is not ideas for everything. It is ideas for solving specific problems. Okay, so what does it mean? We are going to generate as many ideas as possible to solve the problem. Okay. Okay, so ideation is a process. So it is a process of forming ideas from conception to implementation, most often in business settings. Since I'm a management teacher, I always relate it with the business settings. It can pertain to any settings. Ideation can pertain to any settings. Ideation can pertain to academic organization like KSR College of Arts and Science, right? So this design thinking can be implemented for any type of organization. It need not be a business all the time. Okay, and this ideation can be expressed via graphical, written, or verbal methods, and arises from past and present knowledge, influences, opinions, experience, and personal conviction. So ideation can be expressed via graphic. I told you can use Tableau. Tableau is the simplest software where you'll be able to convert data into pictures. They provide talking pictures. So the advantage in having a diagram or a graph is that it communicates to you immediately, instantly, right? It speaks a simple language. Anybody can understand graphs. Graphs can transmit message instantly with the least amount of efforts. So wherever possible, if we can provide a graphical data, right, it is good. Graphical presentations are very, very powerful form of presentations. Providing graphs, pictures, okay, they are very powerful form of presentation. Usually, softwares like Tableau, they provide data visualization, converting data numbers, converting numbers into pictures, right? By looking at pictures, you will be able to identify patterns. Once you are able to see some patterns, you'll be able to give a solution easily. Now, if you can't see a pattern, then things become difficult. Okay, if you can't see patterns, again, advanced softwares like Python, R is being used to churn the data more. Now, if you cannot see the pattern at the initial stage, then you have to churn the data more and more. So to churn the data more and more, people use advanced softwares like R, Python, so that you are able to see some patterns. Okay. So patterns are, I already told you, patterns are not available for ordinary eyes. It is available only for trained eyes. I want all of you to train your eyes to see some patterns. So ideas can be expressed graphically, and mostly we tell them to put it in black and white. So once we put it on a paper, it becomes easy. Otherwise, they keep saying different things at different times. So that is very confusing for us. Whatever is there in your mind, you put it in writing so that we can reread several times to understand what is there in your mind. Okay, so ideation can be expressed in graphs, written form, or verbal methods. Arising from past and present knowledge influences opinions. So data can be in the form of knowledge, it can be in the form of influence, it can be opinions, experience, and personal convictions. Okay. So ideation is usually derived from brainstorming sessions. So I told you, design thinking is done as a group. It is a teamwork. It is not an individual work. That you should understand. So brainstorming can be done. Okay, brainstorming helps to create or generate ideas. Online forums. So we are having a lecture online, right? So we can have online forums to generate ideas, or you can conduct seminars to generate ideas. You can conduct surveys. You can do surveys to generate ideas. Social media platforms you can use. Social media platforms like Facebook or any other social media platform, like LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a very powerful media, right, to share your knowledge. So you can use LinkedIn, social media like LinkedIn to brainstorm your ideas or for generating new ideas. You can have team building exercises. So anyone from an organization, right from CEO to an intern, can take part in ideation process. So there is no qualification to be a member of the team, this design thinking team. Any idea can come from any mind. Idea can come from any mind. Idea need not come only from a CEO. Okay, idea can come even from a worker at the grassroots level, right? So anybody can be in the team. So who will decide the team size? Of course, the top management decides what should be the size of the team. But if you have members from all ranks, you will be able to get insight from different dimensions and different levels. Otherwise, no, there's a chance that your idea may go wrong finally, right? So that is why everyone is included. People, employees at all levels are included to generate ideas. Okay, so most of the ideation process originates from trying to fix a problem. So most of the time we are trying to fix a problem. So problem can be anything. The problem may be the sales has come down. The sales has come down, or the profit has come down. Or maybe in an education institution, the admission number has come down, or the result has come down. Maybe anything. So it's all contextual. Based on the context, the problem varies. And ideation is commonly reverse engineered. I think all of you know what is reverse engineering. See, reverse engineering is all about working backwards. Usually, this reverse engineering is done in mass scale in India and China. In India and China, finding entrepreneurs, innovative entrepreneurs, is difficult, or they are very less in numbers. Innovative entrepreneurs are very less in India and China compared to Europe and US. But we have large number of imitative entrepreneurs. There are different type of entrepreneurs: innovative entrepreneurs, imitative entrepreneurs. So who is an imitative entrepreneur? Once you give some product or service, they will know how to imitate easily, fastly. See, India and China has got large number of imitative entrepreneurs. Okay, so what these imitative entrepreneurs do, you give a product to them, they will find out how the product is, they will break it and find out how the product is made. They go from the final stage of the product to the raw material. They work reverse. They move from the final product and find out what is the raw material, how it has been assembled, what are the parts used, what are the parts to be used, what is the raw material, how to make it. That is for the reverse engineering. India and China is known to have more imitative entrepreneurs who can do reverse engineering. Okay, the styles of ideation includes problem solution, derivative ideas, and symbiotic ideas. What is that? The styles of ideation. There are three styles. Basically, there are three styles of ideation. The first one is the problem solutions. What is the problem solution? This is a straightforward method is where an individual identifies a problem and they subsequently solve. This is what now most of the organization do. They identify the problem and they try to give a solution for it. This is called the problem solution. There's a problem. You have identified the problem and you are given solution. And let me tell you, most of them identify wrong problems. And most of them do not know how to identify problem. They know something is worrying them, but they do not know what is worrying them. Once you identify the problem, it is equal to that you are given of the solution. Problem identified is equal to of the solution you are given. So most of them are not able to identify the very problem itself. Once you identify the problem, then we can start working on providing the solution for the problem. The first style of ideation is problem solution. You identify a problem and you try to give solution. The second one is the derivative ideas. So this involves making improvement to an existing idea. Okay, already something is there. You are adding up features. You are adding up something to the existing thing, right? That is the derivative ideas. Okay, already some products are there. Already some service is there. So already somebody is offering some product. Already somebody is offering some service. You are studying that. You are adding something over and above those ideas, and you come out with something new. So that is called the derivative ideas. Then we have symbiotic ideas. So this is a collision of several incomplete ideas that combine to create fully baked holistic idea. That is, you take ideas from different places, avenues, right? Not all ideas are successful, right? Not all ideas are successful. If you take MSME data, what is MSME, right? Micro, small, and medium enterprises. Large number of MSMEs are created every year, and large number of MSMEs are also wiped out. Not all MSMEs are successful. Not all business are successful. So I am in Bengaluru or Bangalore. Bangalore is known for startups. Bengaluru means startups. If you are in Bengaluru, no, you should have your own business. You should have started your own business. Bengaluru means startups. So a large number of our students, they start their own business. Automatically, the environment is like that. The environment is Bengaluru like that. If you're in Bengaluru, if you have completed your management course or engineering course, you should start a business. It's not that only management student or engineering student start a business. No? Student from any course can start business in your own areas. So you take incomplete ideas from different places, combine it and make it successful. So that is the symbiotic ideas. Okay, so I have identified some problems faced by business on day-to-day basis, or some business. No, I've taken some generic questions, common problems of how to offer our service digitally. Now everyone has gone digital, especially corona disease, COVID has forced everyone to go digitally because people cannot go outside. So how to offer products digitally or service digitally? So is it possible? Right? So because COVID is there to continue. COVID is there to continue in different variants. So we should learn to live with COVID. We have no other choice. We have to learn to live with different versions of COVID. Okay. So we are forced. We have no choice. As far as possible, you should be able to deliver your product service digitally. So how to offer? How to ease the experience of older people? We have a large chunk of older people. So how do we service them? There's a big opportunity, right? See, please understand, wherever there's a problem, there's an opportunity, right? So as a businessman, if we can see opportunity in every problem, you will be successful. So wherever there's a problem, there is an opportunity hidden inside. Don't say there's a problem and run away. Don't say there's a problem and run away. An optimist sees opportunity in every problem. Okay? Only a pessimist will see problems in every opportunity. So how to offer service digital, how to ease. These are different problems or opportunities. I'm saying how to ease, how to increase the happiness or job satisfaction of your employees, how to re-engage the old customers, how to customize product through customer ideas and efforts. See, basically in design thinking, what we are trying to do is we are trying to get more ideas through customers. Basically, that is what we are trying to do. The major source of ideas have to come through customers or consumers. Why? That is what they require. You may say, I have a good product. If that is not sold, your business will be unsuccessful. So what we are trying to do in design thinking is that we are trying to get ideas from our customers, consumers, or employees. Okay. So in a business situation, we are trying to get ideas from consumers. We ask them, what you want? What's next? What's next? What exactly you want? What exactly you're looking for in the particular product? What exactly you're looking for in the service? What additionally you're looking for? So ideas have to come from the consumers. So it's a human-centric approach. You are trying to get along with the consumers. Put yourself in their shoes. That is empathizing, right? You are trying to put yourself in their shoes and trying to get the data. You are trying to get the right data, the requirements of the consumers, and you come out with a product and services, right, that meets their needs. Okay, so business is all about meeting customer needs profitably. You meet the needs, in that process you make profit. That is what business is all about. I've defined business in a very simple way. You meet consumer needs profitably. You meet consumer needs, in that process you make profit. You don't chase profit. Profit will never come to you. Okay, you don't chase profit. Profit will never come to you. You chase the consumer needs. You come out with product and services that meet the consumer needs. Then the profit will be chasing you. So I want all of you to make the profit chasing you. You don't be after profit. Make the profit chasing you. Okay. So therefore, design thinking is customer centric or people centric. It is people centric approach. That is what you should understand. That is the base. It is people centric. It is consumer centric. It is employee centric. Okay, so I'm getting more deep and deep into this third stage, ideation. So how do we plan? We have to plan it out. Whatever we do, we have to plan it out. So what must be there in the plan? So every ideation plan should have all these factors. One is the creativity rules, opposite thinking, analogy thinking. After you do all these things, then you choose the best idea. Okay, the first thing in ideation planning is that you have to come out with creativity rules. You have to be very, very creative. See, new problems requires new solutions. New problems require new solutions, and new solutions require creative thinking. If you are not creative, you will not be able to give solution to the new problems. New problems require new solutions. New solutions require creative thinking, fresh thinking, new thinking. Okay, so you have to come out with the rules for doing creative. What are those rules? See, first of all, in a team, see, you have to form a team for ideation. So ideation is a team work. It is not a one man's work. I'm repeatedly telling, right? I've told you several times. Ideation is a group activity. It is done by a team. So in a team, everyone should be given an opportunity to give their ideas. It's not that only few give ideas, others keep listening. No. Everyone in the team should be given an opportunity to give ideas. And you have to state clearly that no ideas are bad ideas. We are not trying to find out which ideas good or bad. First job is to collect all ideas. First job is to get ideas. Later we will find out which ideas are good, which ideas are bad. If you say, if you know, in a team, in a group activity, if you say these ideas are bad, next time that person will stop speaking. You have to clearly state any ideas are well. All ideas are welcome. There is nothing called bad idea or good idea. We are looking for ideas. You have to clearly state in advance to that group, to that team. So you have to say there are no bad ideas. Second thing, you have to tell them we are looking for number of ideas. See, initially we are not giving emphasis to quality. First, we are giving an emphasis to quantity of ideas. After you get all the ideas, later we move from quantitative to qualitative. So first preference is given for quantitative. First, we'll get as many ideas as possible. We will get as many ideas as possible initially. Later on, we'll find out which ideas are good, which ideas are less good. Okay, there are no bad ideas. All ideas are good, right? Later, we'll find out which are best ideas, better ideas. Okay, that we will decide later. So first you have to say there are no bad ideas. We are looking for more ideas, right? We are looking for quantity of ideas over quality. Then capture everything. Say when people are giving ideas, you have to capture, you have to record, or you have to get it in writing. No, give a paper to everyone. Ask them to write, put their ideas in black and white. This is one way of collecting ideas. Ask them to put it in black and white. Okay, right. I've seen a lot of multinational organizations, they have an idea box or a suggestion box. Okay, so time to time they open the idea box, suggestion box. Good ideas are rewarded. A lot of multinational companies are doing. They have an idea box, right? So you should know how to capture the ideas. So you may get in writing, or you may record the entire, you may video record the entire process of discussion. Main thing is capture all the ideas. Okay, in a video form or in black and white, capture all the ideas. Then go for hybrid brainstorming. So how is hybrid brainstorming different from the regular brainstorming? In hybrid brainstorming, what we do is we ask everyone to state their ideas without any inhibition. When somebody is giving an idea, others should not object. Everyone is given the freedom to tell his or her own idea in full without any objection from other members. Okay, so usually what we do is we ask them to put it in writing or we video record. But whenever an individual member in the team gives idea, allow them to speak till the end, get the entire idea. Okay, so when they are speaking, when they are telling their idea, don't interrupt. Don't interrupt and say this is a bad idea, this is not going to work. Let maybe you can fix a time. Maybe you can say, I'll give 1 minute or 2 minutes or 5 minutes to every individual to give their idea. Give time limit. Get their idea. See, it may be bad idea, good idea. That initially we are not bothered. Okay, so in hybrid brainstorming, what happens is every individual is given adequate time to express his or her full idea. Once he or she tells the entire idea, everything is captured, then the other members are asked to critically evaluate those ideas. That is the second step. First, you get the entire idea. Once the individual puts in the entire idea, then the critical evaluation of that idea is done. Okay. So usually what we do is we ask the individual members to put it black and white. We get all the ideas first. Let it come to your hand. Then every idea is critically evaluated by all other members. Okay, I hope you got it. So after we get the ideas from every individual, then all the remaining members will critically evaluate and they will raise question. So you said like this, if we do like this, don't you think things will happen like this? Okay, so whenever you are asking question, whenever you are critical, be critical about the idea and not the person. Don't criticize the individual, criticize the idea. Okay, that's the mature way of taking any discussion forward. Most of the time, in many situations, we try to criticize the person. That is a very wrong approach. We don't criticize the person, we criticize only the ideas and ask them objectively. Okay, you said like this. If we go by this method, don't you think things will happen like this? Don't you think your idea will go wrong or it will not meet our requirements? Okay, so you have to discuss very professional approach. This we call it as hybrid brainstorming. Hybrid brain. So basically what we are trying to do in ideation is that we are trying to match the solution with the problem, whether our solution will take away the problem or not. So that matching has to be done. Problem is one thing, you are giving some other solution, it is not matching, your solution is not going to give, no, your solution is not the right solution for that problem, then becomes a problem. But exactly, we are looking for that matching. Matching is the key word in ideation. So whatever idea you come out, idea of solution, right, you come out, it has to match the problem you have defined. See, that is why defining the problem is very, very important. If you define the problem wrongly, then you will come out with some other solution. Problem will always be there, or you will lead from one problem to another problem. Okay, it will be like kayamat se kayamat tak. From one problem to another problem you will go. So therefore, defining the problem or defining the requirement is very, very important. If that is not proper, then all your discussion, all your ideation will go wrong. Everything will be futile. Okay, so we talked about the first stage in ideation planning is establishing creativity rules. So you can have more rules, but don't see too many rules will spoil the entire show. See, you have to give more freedom. Only then new ideas will come. Okay, so if you know if you have too many rules, no, you will get less idea or no idea. I'm telling you. So keep rules very simple and straight. It should not be intimidating. See, new ideas will not come under intimidating environment. New ideas will not usually. Okay, there may be exceptions. There may be exceptions. Usually, in a free environment, lot of new ideas come. They come easily. Okay, in an intimidating environment, you may get less ideas or no ideas. Okay, there can be exceptions. Okay, so the first one is the creativity rules. I think you are able to hear me. That's okay. Hello, audience. Can anyone respond? Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we are able to hear, sir.
Yes,
Pardon
sir.
me?
Yes, sir.
You're able to hear me, right? Thank you so much. No, otherwise, I'll be only talking to myself. We are totally disconnected. Okay, so we'll move on. First one, the planning is establishing creativity rules. Then a new concept. Opposite thinking. What this ideation process is don't do the regular thinking. You have already done the regular thinking, but you are not able to give solution. Opposite thinking is one method of coming out with new ideas. Opposite thinking will help you to come out with new ideas. I'll give you a simple example. So, I do not know how many of you know the traditional method of grinding the rice for making idlis. No, the traditional method of grinding, the bottom part will be a fixed one. The traditional method of grinding the rice for making idli, the bottom part, a larger stone, right? There will be a larger stone. There will be pit inside in the middle, right? The largest stone, the bottom part will be a fixed part. It's a fixed component. While the top part will be moved, will be in motion to grind the rice. Okay. So when the wet grinder came, how it looked like? So whatever was fixed, that was changed into a rotating right component. The fixed component has become rotating, right? And the rotating component has become fixed in a wet grinder, right? You know, the wet grinder, the bottom portion is in motion, the top portion is in a fixed, right? The traditional, the manual method, the bottom portion was a fixed one and the top part was a movable part, right? Totally opposite. Totally opposite, right? So if you can do opposite thinking, you will come out with a lot of new ideas. So you see this picture. You know how they used to do high jump long back, right? So somebody thought like that. So while jumping high, right, you can also have in this position. You can also jump in this position with the stomach upwards facing the sky. Usually it was the other way around, right? So this person has thought differently. Why don't I do it in a reverse way, in an opposite way? Okay, so she's a very successful person. So you can find something new. You do something opposite. You think opposite. Why things should be done in the same way for thousands of years? Why don't we do it in the opposite way? I told you wet grinders, right? You take this ketchup bottle, Heinz tomato ketchup bottle. So you see the picture on the left hand side. So this is our usual bottle, right? This is the usual bottle, right? And the lid at the top. So what was the problem with this kind of bottle, especially for the items like this? See, as it reaches the bottom level, as we keep consuming the level, right? The quantity keeps coming down. At the end, you find that certain quantity of ketchup, no, it gets dried or it does not come out through the lid, right? Some wastage happens. Some wastage happens. Now the question is, can we avoid that kind of wastage? Can we avoid that kind of wastage? Can we fully make use of that? Somebody has thought why a bottle should be always like, why the lid should be always at the top. Somebody thought, no, why don't the lid be at the bottom? Completely thinking opposite. Look at the picture at the right hand side. The lid is at the bottom. Usually we have lid at the top, right? So in this new tile, the lid is at the bottom. So what is the advantage? The entire substance in the bottle can be consumed. So this is called the opposite thinking. Why lid should be at the top all the time? Now, while jumping high, while doing high jump, why the stomach must be facing the ground and back the sky, right? Somebody is thinking opposite, right? So if we can do opposite thinking, there's a chance for coming out with a lot of new ideas. You take cone ice cream. You take cone ice cream. So usually people living in the coastal areas. Now, if you go to Chennai, people love visiting beaches. Now, when people go to Goa, why people go to Goa? Because they want to visit beaches, right? So you know what happens in a beach? People wants to eat it as if nothing is available at home. They want to go to beach. They want to eat ice creams, right? They want to eat ice cream. They buy ice cream, eat ice cream, throw the ice cream cup in the beach itself, right? on the beaches, they just throw it and the thing polluting the entire beach. Most of the Indian beaches are gone bad. So somebody thought, see, most of the consumers of ice cream, they are throwing the ice cream on the beach and they're spoiling the beach. They eat ice cream happily and throw the ice cream cup on the beach and they spoil the beach. They dirty it. Somebody asked a question, why don't we make them eat? Why don't we make them eat the very ice cream cup? Why don't we make them eat the very ice cream cup? Is it possible or not? That is how the cone ice cream was born. That is how the cone ice cream. We are making them eat the very cup itself, lovingly, right? Yeah. So opposite thinking. If we can think opposite, you will be able to generate fresh ideas. Think reverse. So what this design thinking tells is, they are recommending you to make lot of opposite thinking. They are recommending you to make a lot of opposite thinking that paves way for generating as many ideas as possible. Because already we have been thinking in a in a scalar way, right? So they say you think reverse. You think reverse. You'll be able to generate new ideas. New ideas will generate new type of products and service. In opposite thinking, what they say, first list out the assumption. First, you list out the assumptions in the existing product and service. Then you try to violate the assumptions. Okay, new things are born. I can know, since you're all from Tamil Nadu, I am also from Tamil Nadu, right? I'll give you a few examples. See, when the poets like Bharatidasan, when they came out with new method of poetry writing, right? Everyone opposed, right? They said, well, no, why we should stick to old methods of writing poem, right? They questioned the very method of writing poems, right? And they came out with a new method. They questioned, and they came out with new method of writing poems, and we call it as Pudu Kavide, right? That we called as Pudikave. So earlier, no, there was a lot of resistance. They told those type of poems should not be used in schools and colleges. There was big resistance. Now later, you see, it was so much appreciated. Now we have separate universities in their names, right? We have Bharatiyar University, Bharatidasan University, Bharatiya University, right? They challenged the existing rules. They came out with something new. So you take Raja. So how Raja was different from other musicians? Now he said, in a piano, in a harmonium, wherever I keep my finger, the swara sa starts. Wherever I keep the finger, swaram, that swar sa starts. Earlier we had a fixed, right? Sa means only this key, re means this key, ga, ma, right? We had fixed keys. No, we are not supposed to change it. Sa means this key, re means this key. Ga means this key, ma is this key, right? So all the 7 keys were fixed. Now you right? So that was the rule of music. When Ilayaraja came, he said, wherever I keep my finger, on the harmonium, the sa starts from there for me. That is how he was able to come out with lot of new new compositions. Okay, so you can think something opposite and can come out with a lot of new ideas. So first list the assumption, then you work reverse. Working reverse. You challenge that. Why don't we do the other way around? Why don't we do the other way around? Okay, that's opposite thinking. So you define the opposites, give solution, move to the next assumption. So these examples we have seen. Then we have another type of thinking. Opposite thinking is one method. Another method is analogy thinking. What is analogy thinking? The analogy thinking to helps you to identify and apply the best features from all of the solutions. What does it mean? You have fair awareness about solutions for different problems or similar problems, right? You go and look at, you go observe, you go and analyze, you go observe, analyze different solutions for similar problems. Okay, you learn from that. You learn the good aspect from all the solutions and try to apply it. Okay, you take the best features, you take the best features from all the solution and try to give solution for the problem existing in your company. See, in management, we always say, see, the problem may be the same in two different companies. Say, let us say there are two companies, company A and B. The problem may be the same. So, company A had a problem, and they gave a solution. Company B is having similar problem. So, if company B gives the same solution, a similar solution, they may not be successful most of the time because the context is different. Okay, the problems may be the same. Okay, a problem may be the same or similar, but you cannot afford to give similar solution. If it works, you are lucky. Otherwise, most of the time it's not, because your context is different. Okay, this is a mistake majority of the managers make. They say, okay, this problem this company had, I'm going to do the same thing. Sometimes it may click, okay, by luck. Your context is different. Problems may look similar or same, but it requires a different solution for organization. That is what you should understand. So what we can do is, in our analogy thinking, what we do is we take the best features, right, found in the solution pertaining to different, similar problems adopted by different organization. You come out with something new. So this is what analogy thinking does. So you may go for anything. You may go for opposite thinking. You may go for analogy thinking, right? And find out which best suits your context. Which best suits, which idea best suits your context, which solution best suits your context. You choose that. These are different methods. You may do opposite thinking, analogy thinking, but nowadays more importance are given for opposite thinking because people are able to generate more ideas. More ideas are coming from opposite thinking. People are encouraged to do a lot of opposite thinking in the team. Okay. Okay, so you see, I picked up few, latest examples. Now we have Google Map, right? Google Map is going to introduce a new feature, right? It is going to introduce a new feature known as Immersive View. So Immersive View. So what that is going to provide you, you'll be able to experience what a neighborhood, landmark, restaurant, or popular venue is like. Okay, it is going to give you some pictorial representation. Now if you find some restaurant nearby, you'll be able to click that and see the pictures of inside, so you can decide. Staying outside, you'll be able to decide whether you like going inside or not. So Google is coming out with a lot of new features. Usually Google is a very innovative organization. Google is a very innovative organization. This is the latest innovation of Google Map. So you are going to have immersive view. So your Google Map is going to look like pictures. Okay, so yeah, it's going to look like pictures. You will be able to view in advance and decide whether you want to enter a particular place or not. So Google develops a new camera system for historical street views. Then there is a Google multi search. What is that? What is the feature they have? Scene exploration has been included in multi-search. So the feature combines text, voice, visuals, and more. These are the latest ideas, innovation, right, of Google. Google is a very innovative organization. That is why we all are still sticking to Google, right? Otherwise, Google would have died like Nokia, right? Nokia was number one point of time, but where is Nokia now? Because they failed to innovate. They failed to think. They failed to be futuristic, right? So Nokia, once upon a time, I remember myself, Professor Lal. We all used to be allowed to have Nokia phone in our pocket, but now it is no, right? So they failed to innovate. They failed to be futuristic. Therefore, they died. Business died. No, Nokia is struggling to be in the market, right? So these are good examples of analogy thinking. Now Google does a lot of analogy thinking. Thereby they are able to bring in a lot of features, right? You're trying to, so what is analogy thinking? You're trying to take the best features from different things and trying to incorporate in your product service. Okay, so the fourth stage in this process, the fourth stage in this process is prototyping, design thinking. The fourth stage in design thinking is prototyping. So what is prototyping? So you came out with a product, new product. You came out with a new product, new services, and you cannot go for a scale production and distribution immediately. That will be a biggest mistake you will do. So whenever you come out with a new product, new service, you produce in small numbers, you take it to the market and find out how they respond. Do they respond positively? Did they really like it? Did they really like it? Did it really meet the needs or requirements of the consumers? You have to see. Once you find that yes, they liked your product, then you should go for large scale production. Okay, so because you had a good idea, you came out with a good product, service, don't go for mass scale product. So that is the biggest mistake you will make. Then your business ends there. Okay, so using your ideas, best ideas, you come out with a prototype, you produce in small quantities, take it to market and see how they respond. If they respond positively, then you produce in large numbers and take it to market and flood the market with your product. Once they like your product, produce in large numbers and flood the market with your products. Okay, right. So this is prototyping. The last stage, no, testing. So prototyping is coming out with a product. Okay, prototyping is coming out with a model of your product. So once you come out of the model, it has to be taken to the market. So ultimately, who's going to buy? Ultimately, who's going to buy? Ultimately, where your product and service has to go? It has to go to market. When you produce, you are not going to store it in your organization, right? It has to go to market. That is called testing. That is a pilot testing. You may call it as pilot testing or testing. Okay, so you have to test your product. If people like it, if there's a favorable response, then you go for mass scale production and market it. Okay, so sometimes we find that you come out with a prototype for the product or a service or a solution. You come out with a prototype solution. You have to see what kind of response you get. What kind of response you get. So, right, so if the response is unfavorable, assuming that you came out with a prototype, okay, it can be prototype, can be a product, it can be a service, right, or it can be any solution, or it can be any solution. Prototype can be also a solution to a problem. You first test it. You see how people respond, right? So if they respond unfavorably, then you may have to do something else. What is that? You have to know if there is unfavorable response. What does it mean? It means that you have not defined. We have to go back to the stage 2. Where's the diagram? You have to go to the stage 2. What is the stage 2 define? So if your product fails while testing, it means that you have not defined your problem properly. You have not defined your problem properly. Okay, you are not defined the requirement of the consumer properly. You are not defined the requirement of the employees properly. You failed there. Okay, because you failed in defining the problem or the requirement, your product failed while testing again. So from the fifth stage, from testing again, you have to go back to define again, take up no again, go back, collect all the data. No, you have already empathized, right? You have already done the empathizing work. Through empathizing, you have collected all the data, right? You have stepped into the shoes, you have talked with them, you have discussed with the consumers, you have discussed with the employees, you have collected all the data. Only thing is you did not see any pattern. You failed to see the correct pattern. See, there'll be several, sometimes there'll be several patterns. No, you may, so when there are several patterns, you should be able to say this is the primary pattern. These are all our these are complementary patterns or secondary patterns. If there are several patterns, you should be able to say this is a primary pattern, this is a secondary pattern, this is a tertiary pattern. So you should be able to identify the primary problem. What is the primary problem, or what is the primary requirement of my employees, or what is the primary requirement of my consumers? What exactly they require? If you don't define, what will happen? You will ideate, you will do prototype, you will go for testing. While testing, your product fails. Again, you have to come back to the defining stage. You have to come back to the defining stage. We call this as design thinking cycle. We call this as a design thinking cycle. So after testing, your product failed, your service failed, or your solution failed, again you have to come back, again redefine properly, again with a redefined problem, or with the redefined requirements, again go and ideate, again come out with the prototype, then test again. Sometimes again your solution may fail. Again, sometimes your solution may fail. Again, come back, redefine, again ideate, again go for a new prototype, again test it, again fail, again come back, redefine again ideate, go for a new prototype, test it, then you become successful, then you produce in mass scale and implement, or you implement the solution. Okay, so this is how things go, this is how things work. So I think I've almost come to the end of the presentation.
Sir, please unmute your mic, sir.
So far you were able to hear, right? Hello?
Yes, Professor. Now only it is muted. Just now.
Okay. I was suddenly, I know, I was shocked. No, so far I've been speaking for so long, and if it was muted, now things.
Okay.
Yeah. So, any questions, please, from the audience? Yeah, from the listeners.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening. Can you please introduce yourself and then ask question?
Sir, I am SC Gokul, sir. First MBA, sir.
Okay, good.
Sir, what type of storms are there, sir?
See, you can design any type that meets your requirement. See, there is no one standard policy. What we say in design thinking is that we give lot of freedom. See, even though there are 5 stages, let me tell you one thing. I know I showed you 5 stages in design thinking. What experts say is these 5 stages need not be done in a particular order only. You can change the order of these 5 stages, but all the 5 stages will be there, but you can change the sequence of these 5 stages. And what they say is every stage should not be crippled with rules. Give lot of freedom. Only when there is a lot of freedom, new ideas will be born. So whatever fits your situation, your context, you decide how you will go about discussing. There is no one fixed method as to how you will do this discussion. Is that okay?
Okay.
You
Yes,
may
sir.
think innovative. You may think innovatively, and no, you may come out with a new method of brainstorming. No one stops. What suits your requirement, you decide you go about. There is no hard and fast rule. Freedom must be given at every stage. That is what design thinking experts say.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Yeah.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Please tell your name and the course, okay? So all of this is a general instruction I want to give. So whenever you ask question, please tell your name and the course which you study.
I am Sedramam from first MBA, sir, in KSRCAS College of Arts and Science.
Good. Okay.
Sir, no doubts.
What's it?
First of all, thanks, sir.
Thank you.
So your section is very useful to me, not only for me, my department students also. Then after I starting any business, applying your testing capacity strategy, sir. Thank you so much,
Very
sir.
good. Very good. Thank you. Yeah. What's the question, sir?
No questions, sir. No questions.
Thank you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Any questions?
Students, do you have any more questions? Students? Sir, thank you, sir, for your valuable session.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Lal, sir, proceed. Lama.
Yes, madam.
Okay. Krishna Priya, proceed, ma.
Thank you, sir. Where there is a beginning, there is an end. And now we are at the end of the section. I cordially invite Dr. S. Agustina Lata ma'am, Assistant Professor of PG, to give a vote of thanks.
Good evening to one and all present here. On behalf of Institutional Innovation Council of KS Rangasamy College of Arts and Science, it's my pleasure to propose vote of thanks for the MOE Innovation Cell AICTE sponsored Impact Lecture Series 2. First of all, IIC of KSRCAS is thankful to MOE Innovation Cell AICTE for sponsoring this Impact Lecture Series on entrepreneurship and IPR. My heartfelt thanks to our Honorable Chairman, Vice Chairman, and Directors, Madam in absentia. I extend my thanks to all most respectful Principal Dr. V. Radhakrishnan sir for always being a motivator and a guide to excel in our academic journey. I thank you, sir. I extend my thanks to our today Chief Resource, Dr. Ramesh Chandra Babu, Associate Professor of Management Studies from Christ University. Sir,
thank you.
You have given a vast explanation about conversion of idea into a business and various online models to generate ideas. Also, your session gave a clear picture about the various sources, how to derive the idea, and how to get into the business to be a successful entrepreneur in a future era. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I also thank Dr. K.M. Prabhu Shankar Lal, sir, President of IIC, Dr. G. Suresh Kumar, sir, Vice President of IIC, Mr. J. Tamil Selvan, sir, Convener of Institution Innovation Council, and Dr. Suresh, the Coordinator of IIC, Dr. P. Vanita, ma'am, Organizing Secretary, to make this session a grand success. I thank all the heads, faculty members, and student participants from various departments. Once again, I thank you all. Above all, I thank the Almighty God for being with us throughout all this time. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, all the participants.
Thank you.